everyone, and welcome to Let's Chat Oils in the Kitchen with Damien and Anna. And I just want to say thank you for listening to this. We've got a special essential oil for you. It's the ginger essential oil. So, Damien, tell us why is ginger's such a fond oil of yours?
I absolutely love flavor profiles that come from ginger. I'm a very much a spice and herb kind of driven person. And so I just really love it's like this dry, aromatic, spicy kind of oil. But then on the flip side, we can really make it like a almost a floral kind of oil. And I love how versatile it is in flavor profile.
Yeah, I know it's one that you're very passionate about, and a lot of people you talk to then also get that enthusiasm and excitement about ginger. So this is a short segment that we do once a month. Just wanted to welcome you. As there's three ways to use the oils, we're focusing tonight on how to use them in the kitchen. So most likely, Damien will talk about using them in the internal food flavouring. But there's also ways to use ginger aromatically and topically on us as well, of course. Just a quick safety overview before I hand it back over to Damien. Um, let's go through some safety. So when we're using them, we want to make sure that we never put them in our eyes, never in the ears or up the nostrils, and be careful with any sensitive areas like armpits, the private areas. So if you do accidentally get, say, ginger being a hot oil, maybe you rub it in your eye accidentally, you want to reach for a carrier oil like coconut oil. If you're in the kitchen, even your olive oil would work, almond oil, something that will carry the essential oils to one spot, and then just wipe it away with a dry cloth. So a lot of people think, oh, I'll go jump in the shower or I'll get a wet washer. But as water and oils don't mix, it'll actually spread it, make it worse. So that's number one tip. Now, I did mention there that ginger is a hot oil, which means we just want to dilute it. And Damien will talk about this. When we're using them in our drinks, please use glass or stainless steel, especially when using citrus oils. We don't want it to leach out the toxins. We don't want to drink those. Using glass or stainless steel where possible. And then just a safety thing again with citrus on your skin. Doesn't apply to ginger, but you just want to make sure you do it under your clothing or maybe at night so you don't get that photosynthesizing effect of the sunlight making your skin go blotchy. I will say though, with ginger, you want to heavily dilute it. Let's move along. I'm going to pass back to Damien because he's the brains behind all this. Take us through it. Thanks, Damien.
Okay, so first, the chemically scientific stuff. It is a very soothing oil. So despite the fact that ginger is a hot oil and people tend to avoid it because of that fact, especially when they're using it topically, it is a very powerful and soothing oil. So it's a really good thing to note. Now, ginger is also an acidic substance. So a lot of oils you'll see are actually alkaline, which means they have a high pH level, which is on our acidity radar. We have high pH means alkaline. So that's like, how would I put it? You've got salt is alkaline, and then water is neutral, and then lemon juice is acidic. So ginger sits just a little bit above the neutral zone, or I should say this type of ginger in the essential oil form, it will sit at that range. Zingiber is the botanical name for ginger, and it is also the same name is the chemical compound which actually creates the soothing properties, but it's also really supportive of anti-nausea, like headache relief, digestion stimulation. It's a really powerful anti-inflammatory, to the point where a lot of even pharmaceutical medicine will still require to use ginger in a lot of their heavily processed and highly refined pills because it's just that powerful. And now the ginger family, this is something I like to throw in there because, again, really fascinated by ginger. It's one of the largest flowering families of the botanical world. And so the range of ginger that can be used in your body goes far beyond what's just in this bottle, but it's also, I want to say, not as heavily studied and understood. So that's why we like to bring it back to the bottle, but I always encourage playing around in the kitchen. But yeah, so now if we go into the pricing of things, now again, this is just coming back to the standard ginger root, which is about $29 a kilo on the Woolworths, like when you buy from Woolworths. And so it's roughly 100 grams of ginger per person is standard medicinal dose, or even if you were making like a stir fry or something, you'd use about 100 grams. And so that makes the total $2.90 on average per serve. And hence the reason why in Australia you don't often find a lot of foods flavored with ginger because of that fact. But if we actually have a look at the essential oil bottle itself, so the oil is 30 cents per drop. So we're already seeing a massive difference here. And it's a quarter of a drop per serving. So ginger essential oil, as Anna said before, is really strong, and it's a hot oil, which means we have to heavily dilute it all the time. And I love that in cooking because it makes my job easy, and I don't have to worry about like using too much oil or being like, oh my gosh, it's going to cost me so much to flavor this, because it doesn't. Half a drop per serve. And that means one serve is 7 cents. So if you compare 7 cents to $2.90, in the end, that is a massive difference you're saving on an essential oil bottle. Okay, so some things I like to note when it comes to ginger is how we pair it. So I love to use it in baked goods, and that's actually a recipe I've gotten down. This is a Jamaican ginger cake. Now, this one is a really great treat, and we'll go into that a little bit later on. But if we jump back to some other notes I want to go on to before we get into the recipe is ginger works really well with anything citrusy or spicy. If you put ginger with citrus, you will get a floral kind of flavor profile from ginger, which I find so fascinating. And if you pair it with any spices or even some herbs, I want to say it will work really well. But yeah, ginger and other spices, like you can almost not go wrong, especially when it comes to the doTERRA essential oils and what's in them. You will almost always be able to pair ginger with some other spice. Now, in saying the fact that ginger is a hot oil, I do like to mention that ginger actually is really good for your lip health. And so that means if you ever have dry or cracked lips, a quarter of a drop, which I don't have any sample drams with me, but if you get a small little dram, they will come out in a quarter of a drop. I'm sure you guys have seen me reference them many times. And you just pop that and maybe half a pump or a little bit of coconut oil, and you just rub it on your lips just like that. And it will help with windburn, it will help with cold sores, it will help with everything lips. So in knowing that, we can manipulate how we operate in the kitchen, and we can do things like use ginger essential oil in our salted rims or our sugar rims on drinks, because we also know that while you're going for a night out or you're coming to your friend's house and you want to have a nice night, you also want, like, you might put a lip plumper on before you go out or something like that, and ginger will keep that effect, but in kind of a much healthier setting. Or you might have been quite thirsty or something like that, and obviously moisture gets drawn out of your lips pretty much straight away in your body. So the fact that you're putting ginger back on it when you're having a drink or when you're rehydrating is really good for them. And so that is one of the many amazing ways we can use topical applications in the kitchen. But yeah, I'll go through just one more dot point here. So the ginger is, despite being a hot oil, is a very volatile and sensitive oil. So that means if you heat this essential oil past about 38 degrees, it probably won't carry the exact strong amount of effects that it does offer. So when we're using ginger essential oil, we do have to be relatively conscious of that. But again, because it's a hot oil, we want to use less until we do something like baking. And then we can use what's considered a normal ratio, because ginger has such a low smoking point. That means ginger evaporates much earlier on than any other oil, or almost any other oil, which means we can use a little bit extra or just here and there during our cooking, and we will get the flavor come through to about the same amount as if we weren't to cook the ginger oil. So that is something I like to keep in mind, which will come in handy for when we look at this recipe coming up. So I'm just going to read through this really quick. We got 120 grams of butter, 280 of plain flour, 1 teaspoon of bicarb, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 200 grams of brown sugar. Now that's an important part. 200 grams of applesauce, again, a key ingredient there. 50 mils of maple syrup, 100 mils of coconut milk. And then we've got obviously our essential oils. Now the ginger is the main one here. It's meant to be the star of the show. So we've got 5 drops ginger. Now remember, this is serving 8 to 10 people. And as I said before, ginger will evaporate a lot earlier on than other oils. So because we're baking it, we're using a normal amount of essential oil. And then our supporting oils here are cinnamon, because it really highlights a lot of those great flavors in ginger. Then we've got some vanilla and cardamom. So they actually contradict the flavor, which gives us our botanical aspect of the ginger. So not only are we getting that spicy, like aromatic, delicious goodness from our ginger, but we're also getting the floral and more subtle flavor profiles unlocked in that cake. But again, if you don't have the other essential oils yet, that's perfectly fine. Tonight's focus is ginger. So even if you just want to try out that recipe with ginger, that's perfectly well. Now, when I go over the essential ingredients, so the brown sugar, the applesauce, and the coconut milk, they're essential in causing the chemical reaction that actually forms the cake. So everything else is basically substitutable to fit your needs and your circumstances. Now, to keep it real simple, when you're making this, you just simply mix the dry ingredients in one bowl, the wet ingredients in another, which includes the butter. So we're going to melt the butter into those ingredients. And then we're just going to gently fold in the wet ingredients back into the dry ingredients. So we don't want to overbeat it or anything like that, because it'll give us a more dense, harder cake. And we want an in-between fluffy and dense kind of cake for this. And it's real simple. You just bake it for 180 degrees for about an hour and a half, maybe an hour and 20 minutes, depending on, you guys know your ovens and how they like to work. And it'll just come out as a really nice cake. And now, this is an absolute must. You must serve this cake with custard and ice cream. Absolutely have to. If you don't know what you're missing out on, and the cake still has to be a little bit warm, all right? Pro tip. Okay, and now my favorite part about ginger essential oil is the millions of pairings it can come up with. So we're going to brush through this list very quickly. If you have any more questions as to why this oil works really well with certain oils, please feel free to ask me or ask Anna and she can pass on to me. But we have, just to list a few, lime, cardamom, wild orange, cilantro, grapefruit, bergamot, juniper berry, black pepper, oregano, rose, Madagascar vanilla, turmeric, rosemary, lemon, frankincense, green mandarin, cinnamon, clove, and geranium. So those are a few, and that is only regular oils that a typical household will regularly go through. So I've tried to keep that list a bit short, so your shopping cart's a bit loose. And then we just have a quick diffuser blend. So I love using diffuser blends while people are eating, because it can actually completely change our atmosphere and how we perceive food. So I love to use the ginger in a blend of some ginger and some citrus while people are eating, because it just really stimulates your digestion and makes people understand when their bodies are ready to be full.
This is great, Damien. You're making me hungry talking about that warm cake with custard and ice cream. And I really like how you've put in a couple of favourite techniques there. I'll just jump in because I've had a couple of people tell me that they want to get into using essential oils in, and I was reflecting on it thinking what made it easy for me were things like having the cooking oils near you while you cook. So I actually have a stand where I've just got the edible oils, the essential oils that are safe to use in foods and drink. Yeah, so I've brought them out of my collection and put them in its own stand. And then I have to have it somewhere visual that I can see it when I'm chopping up food or sauteing onions and wanting to flavour it. So whatever sort of wooden stand you might be able to find. Then I also like the idea that Damien's pointed out before is the little 1 ml size bottles, because you can have better control over how much essential oil you're using. So you can just do one tap to get a quarter of a drop rather than a whole drop. Can sometimes be a little bit overpowering. I don't know if you guys have ever tried something and it's been too strong. And then also the third tip that I came up with was have a water station by your water dispenser or your water filter and just put out, say, 3 of your favorite oils. Is it lime, metapower, lemon, or you can have a whole range. But yeah, having a little station around your kitchen to help with that encouragement. Now, here's your diffuser blend. Take it away, Damien.
Awesome. So this is the blend that I regularly use. So it's got ginger, sandalwood, and juniper berries. So it's 4 drops ginger, 2 drops sandalwood, and 2 drops juniper berry. Now, this one specifically I designed because I come from a background where I've had an eating disorder and I used to overeat quite frequently as a repercussion of my previous health before that. So the fact that we can make essential oils that help our brains understand signals in our body, such as our brain's ability to receive our stomach signal when it tells us it's full, because we all know that doesn't always happen. You eat a cake and you go, oh, that was really delicious. And then you go back for a second one and you go, I really feel sick now. I shouldn't have eaten that one. And it's because in amongst all the foods that are getting dispersed into our body and we're re-nourishing ourselves, our brain can sometimes forget to receive signals from our stomach. So this one is a little bit of a mindfulness blend, I like to say. And it's not to discourage people from eating or wanting seconds. There's nothing wrong with that ever. It's simply just allowing our stomach and our brain to communicate a bit more.
Yeah, I really like hearing about that. Thank you, Damien. And ginger also diffusing it will help with the digestion of the meal as well as what you're saying there with your body knowing when it's full. So thank you for sharing your knowledge. I know it's just the cream on the top. If you want to know more, I can link you up with Damien. He's a wealth of knowledge and creativity, isn't he? But I want to help you if you want to get started. You have my help. You've got Damien's help. You've got the person who introduced you to watch this video. So if you're ready to become a member, there's a couple of great ways you can do it. And we want to help you get the best products for the best prices. So you can get 25% off as a VIP discount for a whole year by paying a $35 membership, but you can actually get that membership for free. Go back to the person who you're connected with and they'll help you with how you can get the free membership by buying a kit or by making up your own bundle. And it's just so much fun to have that membership. You become part of a community. You got those VIP prices. You get lots of opportunities to have free products, free oils every month, things like that. Lots of member perks, ebooks, ongoing support, competitions and giveaways. Now, if you're looking at ginger, retail, it is $103. But as at member price, I was just saying it's so much better to get it for $77. And then whether you want to pay for your membership or get your membership for free, we can help you with that. Better yet, for those of us who are members, you can see there the 58 PV point value. That indicates that that's how much it's worth, but it also gives you a rough indication of how many points you can use to get the ginger for free. So there's tips and tricks. You guys, you'll learn about it as you need to along the way, but we're here to help. So what's the next step? If you've got questions, comments, or you're ready to get started, please connect with us here, with the person who invited you. We look forward to welcoming you on our oil journey and your oil journey. And we also have a free oil camp, so that's every month. We've got personalised ongoing support. We have these Let's Chat oils in the kitchen every month, so you get to spotlight on one oil a month, maybe get to use it, put it in your oil station, ginger would be beautiful with a warm mug of steaming water and honey, and especially if you've got a bit of a scratchy throat, put a bit of lemon and ginger. It's just so versatile, so you could have it in your water station too. But yeah, I just wanted to say thank you. It's been wonderful to hear your information there, Damien. And any last final words before we sign off?
Yeah, actually, to top off what you said with the ginger, the best combination you can have with ginger with a hot drink is hot cocoa. And if you disagree with me on that, I'm sorry, we can't be friends, because that is my favorite drink in winter. I will sit down on the couch with a nice hot cup of cocoa and a quarter of a drop of ginger splashed in there, and nothing beats it. And on that note, I absolutely love how ginger pairs with chocolate. If you're interested coming up and you live within the South Burnett area or anything like that, we have a chocolate workshop actually coming up in preparation for Easter. So you'll find out more information as that goes, but we have already sold 8 of our 15 spots. So that one is one to get into quickly. And yeah, so we will be going in a bit more in-depth kind of situation with essential oils. And one of the oils that will be featured is ginger, because we can't go wrong.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Damien. Thank you everyone for watching, and I'll say good night. See you next month. Take care.